Now that we have the outside complete, we can turn our attention to the inside. And I've worked on a lot of these Halloween projects over the years, and obviously you could put whatever you wanted to inside of the little niches. This year, though, I've decided to use some Silly Monsters die, I think they're called, by Tim Holtz to go in the big spots, and then some Halloween words to go in the smaller spots. So as I showed you in the introduction, these are the little monsters, and then I'm using the ghost from this die set. And next I'll do some coloring. So this is how I'm going to color my monsters, and I don't pretend to be any kind of great colorist. This is just what I've decided to do. So I'm taking the monsters and I'm using 3 colors of distressed oxide, fossilized amber, wild honey, and spiced marmalade, and I'm just coloring my monsters. I cut them out of 140-pound watercolor paper, so they're pretty sturdy. And I'm just going to put some different colors on. And like I said, there's lots of people out there that are super at this kind of thing, but I think this will work out. And as soon as I get my colors on, I'll do the technique where you spray with a little water. I just have a little water bottle here, and then if I want to add more color, I will. And then for my little ghost, I haven't decided. He might just stay white for right now. So I'll go ahead and get all of my little monsters colored. So I wanted to make sure that I got enough good orange in here, and so in some of these places I took my ripe persimmon marker and just kind of scribbled a little on there, and then used the blending tool with the spiced marmalade to just kind of amp up the orange in an area. And so I think those will work. So next I'm going to take some little pieces of white paper and go behind the eyes and the mouth for these monsters. And I'll just cut some bigger pieces and run a little bead of glue around the back and put the white behind, like their teeth and their eyes. Maybe their spots, I haven't quite decided, but I'm going to do that next. I'm sure you know by now how much I love to have that little black edge around everything, so I've taken my monsters and I put a little glue on them and put them on some black paper, and then I cut around. I've done one so far, and it's a good idea. It's really hard to see this on the black, just to take your pencil and outline where you want to cut first, and that'll give you a guideline, because it's very difficult to see on the black. Now, if you want to do this for the monsters, all the monsters, there's no problem, except this little guy. He needs to have, at least 1/8 of an inch cut off of his tail, just rounded over a little bit. And then the ghost, if you're not going to have any black reveal, put the ghost on your craft mat in the kind of position you want it to be in. It's going to need to fit into a 2 by 2 square. So if you put it in there, then you can see down here I need to just kind of trim off his tail so that it'll fit into that 2 by 2 square. Now if you're going to put the black reveal on, you want to fit it into a 1 7/8 inch square, so you'll need to cut off a little bit from the tips of the arms, I guess, and as well as the little tail down there. So I'm going to get all of my creatures cut out. So I have all of the black cut out on my little monsters, and then I use some little black pearls to on their eyes. So to make these little dudes stand up, I've got some 1/4-inch alphabet beads that I've just painted with some black gesso, and I'll use a couple on each one and attach them down to their feet so that they can stand up, and that black will kind of hide behind the black cardstock here, and that'll give us some good gluing surface to attach them into the niches. The exception is the ghost, which I will show you in a minute. And to attach these beads, I'm going to use some diamond glaze, or you could use glossy accents. And I will attach a solid side to the monster and make sure that a solid side is facing down so that I have good gluing surface on both sides. So I have my little feet on the back of my monsters, and I'm just going to let those thoroughly dry. And then on the back of my ghost, I'm going to use some foam squares, and I'm going to raise it up considerably, probably about 1/4 of an inch or so, and just put some foam squares on the back. If you don't have foam squares, you could just cut some thin pieces of the black chipboard and layer up 4 pieces of chipboard would raise it up 1/4 of an inch, and that would work as well. In 3 of the niches, there's some extra space on the walls behind the monsters, so I'm going to cut out 3 of these little tags to have as wall art in those niches. I'm going to cut out this Eat, Drink, and Be Scary, I think Beware, and then Caution. So I'll go ahead and get those cut out. Now for the 2 little ones, I'm going to search in my chipboard scraps and find some chipboard so I can make a backing for them, and I'm going to make that an 1/8 inch, I'll cut it an 1/8 inch longer in each direction so I can have a 1/16 inch reveal when I attach it. And this one kind of looks like it already has that going on. It's just a little gray, so I think I'll just carefully take a marker and blacken up the edges of that, and then I'll cut a piece of chipboard that's exactly the same size as that for the backing. So I've got my elements to go inside of my niches. This is the Tim Holtz Halloween typography. I have my 3 little signs that I just made, and the monsters are already temporarily in the niches. So I'll bring it all in and I'll show you where I'm going to put everything. So starting from the left in section 1, this is the caution sign up here at the top. I did take some orange ink to it, and then I will put some, in order to attach all of the creatures, I will put glossy accents on their little feet and stand them up inside of there. Also they're back probably about halfway. Now this dude may have to go slightly on an angle because he just will fit, but he will fit. And then here, this dude goes in the top, and I'm going to use the letters that spell out the word fright from this Tim Holtz kit down there. Then moving along, in this middle 3, I've got a monster here and a monster here, and the little beware sign is up there. And then in these 3 places we'll again have Tim Holtz words, and it's going to say trick, and then trick will go here, or will go here. Oops. trick goes there, or goes down here, and treat goes over there. So I have those three, and then the last two, I'll move them in. Up here above this monster, I'll have this eat, drink, and be scary sign, and then the ghost will get attached floating in the back there, and then from the Tim Holtz typography, I'll put the word boo in there. I'm going to use glossy accents to attach the orb diamond glaze, to attach the feet of all of the monsters and the typography letters, and I'll just be very careful with that. And then for the two that are going here on an angle, I'm going to take a post-it note and line it up there, and I'll show you that, I think. So let's see. I think that's all I wanted to say. I'll show you the post-it note trick for doing those two. And when you put any of the things in with the glossy accents, the letters or the monsters, just, of course I'll do it in an upright position. I'm just showing this to you so you can see it on camera. And make sure that everything is thoroughly dry. Just take your time and get everything in. So for the two that are at an angle, this one here, number 3 and number 4, I'm going to use a post-it note just to help me find a straight line to put my word in. Now you don't have to go all the way back. You can experiment with how much space the letters need. You may need to go, I have it right now lined up just with the corners of the opening. And of course the little oar that goes over here won't take up any space at all. So that's just a little trick for keeping a straight line, and you can use that in the other niches as well. It's just trickier, I think, on these that have the triangle in the front. So I'll go ahead and take my time and get all of my little things installed in the niches. And with that, the construction of the Inside Out Halloween house is completed. I hope you've enjoyed constructing this project, or just seeing how it all came together. This is April with Craft Knife Chronicles. Thanks for watching, and happy Halloween.